Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Ringside Rundown podcast. My name is Erik Vasquez, and joining me on the line is my podcasting partner in crime. Yes, that rhymes. She is coming straight from the Berg. She is none other than Shay Hickson. Shay, what's going on, my friend? How was your week?
Can't really complain. I got some new ink over the weekend, so happy about that.
I saw. You just keep filling it up.
I keep going. The goal is to not have any skin. I need to have sleeves and just art and not just normal skin. So yeah, it's in that very fun, itchy part right now of the healing, but I don't know about like you, when you would get like I don't know if your artists use like the Tegaderm or the Sanoderm on top of it, but my skin lately has been so like red and itchy when I take it off. I don't know if it's just like my skin doesn't like it anymore, because it didn't used to be an issue, but now it's like, and it usually goes away after a few days. It's not like it stays, but I'm like, this is not helping the itchiness of it right now.
Right.
But
That's
it's the price we pay.
That's the worst part. That's the worst stage of tattoo healing, is the itchy part.
Yeah.
It's a pain in the ass when it starts to itch. It really gets to you.
Because it's like you can't scratch it, so you almost have to like fingertip around it, like
Right.
push on it or like tap it. That's literally the only thing, and it really does nothing. But to your brain, maybe it'll do something. But yeah, it's my least favorite part of the art is the itchy aftercare. But it's worth it in the end. It's just a pain in the ass to get there.
It certainly is, but it looks cool.
Thank you.
No problem.
It was never complain about my artist. He always does good work. We're on tattoo, I think 18 now.
Jeez.
I think, but he's done 17 of the 18, and we kind of joke that the only any artist I would go to would just be other people in the shop. So he's lending me out to one of his other artists next month. So we'll see how it goes. But
nice.
Can't complain.
More ink to cover up.
Exactly.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into today's show. For those of you that don't know, this is a pro wrestling podcast where Shay and I discuss what's happening in the world of professional wrestling, whether it's WWE, AEW, or anything of the like. And the way we do it is we answer your questions sent in by our loyal listeners. We got a whole bunch of questions about a variety of topics, a lot of things happening in wrestling right now, and we get to discuss it all tonight on the show. I'm excited. I hope you're excited, Shay. Why don't we get right into it?
Yeah, let's get into it. So we're gonna start off with Mom's questions tonight, and starting off with a pretty easy one. Are we planning on watching season 2 of Unreal?
Yeah, I'm actually in the middle of it. I think I'm on like episode 4. Just
because I got one more.
Yeah, so yeah, because it's just an interesting show for me. It deals with all the stuff that intrigues me about pro wrestling, which is how it all comes together, how the magic happens. I'm one of those fans that can separate, okay, I understand how this all works, and I understand that there's an illusion to it, there's a magic trick to it, but it doesn't bother me. It doesn't hurt my viewership of the product. So I'm really enjoying a WWE Unreal. It's right up my alley into what intrigues me about pro wrestling, which is how it all comes together. How do they make the magic happen?
Yeah, it's a very interesting show. I honestly ended up watching all of season 2 mainly just because Mom was watching it, so by default I was watching it as well. I think I only missed like the first 2 episodes, but yeah, it's very interesting, but I feel like especially with season 1 and going into season 2, I've noticed that Triple H kind of has a very bad habit of, if he does something that, let's say, is not the correct move, or just is something that most fans don't really like agree with creative wise, he always loves trying to spin it as that was the plan all along.
Yeah.
Oh, that was always the plan. Oh, well, that actually wasn't a mistake. Oh, we meant to do that. And like, I think the big thing with season 2 was the whole thing with R-Truth, where, well, we let his contract lapse and he took that as he was fired, and that's not really what happened. And even when the whole thing was happening, it was like, oh, that was always a part of the plan and whatever. And it's like, dude, come on. Like, come on. You don't always have to try and insult the intelligence of your fans, because people can see it for what it is sometimes, and it's okay to admit when you're wrong. We're all wrong. We all make mistakes. It's okay, but yeah, it's very interesting to kind of go behind the curtain a little bit. And I know that's like the big controversy with this kind of show is, oh, are they pulling it too? I think, and we've even talked about it. Do they pull the curtain a little too much back? But I feel like in this day and age with social media, kind of a moot point at this rate
Right.
because people are always going to find things out one way or another. But the thing that got me especially, I felt so bad for Lyra after her match with Becky at SummerSlam because it wasn't a bad match. I remember we thought it was probably one of the better matches of the night, but it's just when you look at everything that was supposed to go right went completely wrong, and I just felt so bad. And I could understand why she was in that position of, you kind of saw how TJ was trying to talk to her on the mic in the back where it's like, okay, well, if the zip ties, when they came off, she should have just kept them off and just made it seem like that was how it was supposed to happen. But then
Right.
she panicked because she's like, oh, well, I don't know if the camera saw it. And I'm like, I feel like that's kind of wrestling 101 is just always assume the camera caught it. So just make it like consistent and like don't ruin the continuity of everything. And I think once you kind of get in your head at that point, you're in a high pressure situation like that match was. I don't blame Lyra for kind of just like losing it a little bit because I remember the one spot TJ's like, okay, well, I think what was it that Becky was gonna put Lyra into the post, but she was supposed to reverse it and like throw her in, and she just didn't do it. And he's like, okay, well, or not. Like, kind of tough to recover from when you're kind of spiraling because Lyra was already kind of not in it when what got me was when she's like, as I'm making my way down to that ring, the only thing I'm thinking of is just, let's just get the bell, just bring the bell and let's just get this over with. I'm like, yeah, that's not a good mindset to be in.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we all get into those mindsets sometimes where it's just like, damn it, let's just get this over with. I don't really want to do this. Maybe not so much as not wanting to do it, but just she just wasn't in the best mindset. And unfortunately, that showed glaringly several times during that match. But it also wasn't terrible either. Like those two were
Yeah.
beating themselves up over it, but it really wasn't bad. It was just like, yeah, there were some misses and some like goofs here and there, but those two can put on really good matches as we've seen, and it's just you feel for them a little bit, and it shows you that shockingly these people are actually human and they have human emotions and they're not just robots for your entertainment. So oh, I don't know, maybe just like cut them some slack a little bit because you don't know what's happening with them behind the scenes.
I
Like,
agree.
and we've seen it time and time again. Think of Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania 40. She was in the middle of a panic attack before she even went out there. Becky was in the middle of like having a horrible sickness, and yet those two went out and put on one of the best matches of the night. So cut them some slack, guys.
Yeah.
They're not perfect. We're not perfect, but people seem to think perfection is like the standard in wrestling, and I don't really understand why.
Yeah, that's weird. I always like my wrestling to not be as perfect. I like it to be
Yeah.
not as cookie cutter. I like there to be a little bit of a struggle, a little bit of, messiness
Realism.
to it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Like
And
realism.
yeah, just it adds a little bit of realism. Like these people are fighting and struggling in the ring, and we're supposed to expect it to go a certain way when
Yeah.
the human element, it can go either way. So like I always like my wrestling to be a little off. Maybe that's why I
Yeah.
didn't bother that match didn't bother me as much as maybe I didn't see the mistakes or the botches, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
so glaringly as they
Mhm.
did. But they're the professionals. They know what they're doing in the ring. So it's understandable that they would feel differently from the viewer. I'm just glad that they're able to rebound from it and recover from it, and everything is going good with both the careers of Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria.
Yeah, and then we heard that there's a chance that this contract or this like run with WWE might be Becky's last. She just drops a bombshell on us like that. I think today or it was yesterday. I don't remember exactly when, but it was on Twitter. She was talking to somebody and or doing some interview and pretty much said, "Yeah, this is probably going to be my like last run." And it's like Oh, I didn't really need to hear that today. That just made me like really like bummed out, but I don't know. It's just time waits for nobody, unfortunately, so it's not a I don't know. It's just it's gonna
Like,
catch up with everybody eventually, but
yeah, like you
I don't
said,
feel
time
like
waits for no one. So,
no.
she's got a lot on her plate too. She talks about,
Yeah.
I know in one of the episodes she talked about what it's like being a mother,
Yeah.
and going
Yeah.
through all that and trying to be a mother and be a WWE superstar at the same time. So
Mhm.
obviously she's got a lot of things on her plate, not just with the wrestling and everything like that. She's got some stuff going on. So I
Yeah.
mean, she could say it's her last run, but she hopefully, maybe she signed like a 5-6 year deal,
I
something
hope.
like that.
We can only hope because it's I mean, we've been fans of Becky for years, and obviously you don't want her to ever retire, but there is going to come a day where that's a thing. But hopefully, it's like you said, 5 or 6 years in the future, and we don't have to think about it until we blink, and all of a sudden it's 5 or 6 years in the future, because that's just how it usually goes. But
Yeah,
yeah, that's why you just enjoy them while they can, because they're not going to be around forever. Just ask the
exactly,
whole thing with Cena. Alrighty,
exactly.
so move. Oh yeah, yep. So moving over to AEW a little bit, do we see Kyle Fletcher and Takeshita leaving the Don Callis family sooner rather than later? I mean, they're hinting at it. They're definitely hinting at it.
They're hitting that. I think only one maybe is gonna leave. I
Well,
don't
they might
think.
do the thing where one leaves, but then eventually choruses the other one to like go with them. It's just a matter of who's. I mean, Takeshita's probably going to be the first one to go. He has the biggest reason to leave,
Mhm.
and then Kyle can kind of be like conflicted, like, oh, I don't know, I did all this success when I was with the Don Callis family, and Takeshita can be like, yeah, but have you really won the big one yet? They're holding you back, and that might be well, hopefully a more prolonged story because obviously you need to have Takesh to have much more success so he can be like, see, you can be successful without the Don Callis family. It was actually holding you back this whole time. So I feel like that might be the direction they're going in, I would think. If, like I said, if I had to pick between one or the other, I feel like Fletcher would be the one that goes last. But it's a matter of time. I think both of them are gonna leave. It's just one after the other. I don't know. I mean, Dawn did not like Takesha kind of blowing him off there, but I think it's well deserved. I think Takesha's put up with enough shit as it is, especially with him and Okada. So it's a matter of when, not if. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think someone is definitely gonna leave. You would think with all those people that they have in the Don Callis family,
All
somebody,
25 of them.
yeah, somebody is definitely gonna defect it and end up leaving and dropping the group. I think I'm all the signs point to Takeshita coming to his senses
Yeah.
and
Oh
sort
yeah.
of dropping down. They're I don't want to say they're hinting at it, but like you saw like this past Wednesday on Dynamite when they were all out there, Takeshita came out on his own and he blew past Don Callis and went right for
Hmm.
Kyle Fletcher. So it kind of makes you think that Kyle Fletcher is going to be the one, or Takeshita is going to be the one to leave the group. And of course, he wants Kyle Fletcher to come with him, but we don't know if that's necessarily going to happen. Either way, I'm very interested. I'm also interested in this whole situation with Don Callis' family going up against the Death Riders, and the Death
Yeah.
Riders kind of looking like the good guys,
Yeah.
like the baby faces. That kind of has me intrigued.
Yeah, because they're definitely not going the way we thought they would, because I think at this rate we kind of expected them to, take Moxley behind the barn and like put him out of his misery,
Right.
but they haven't done that yet. So maybe they're just kind of like trying to fake us out a little bit, and maybe it'll happen, after that possibly. But I don't know. We tend to not try and figure out what they're doing because every time we seem to think we know where they're going with the story or something, they just completely subvert our expectations, which is like fine. I mean, it happens, but yeah, I think the thing that was interesting about the whole thing with Takeshita and Fletcher was that Fletcher didn't really seem surprised
No, he
when he
didn't.
like blew past him. So I feel like that might that's why I'm kind of like, well, maybe he might come to his senses a little sooner than people think. But yeah, he was definitely not really too surprised. I mean, Callis is definitely more surprised than anybody, but that's just nothing new with him because he thinks everything's just, sunshine and rainbows in his family when it could be further from the truth. But time will tell. But I just think it's only a matter of time.
I agree.
All right, so obviously, this is such a very obvious statement. So Marina is a total badass who needs to be prominent in her own group, be it male, female, or both. I mean, we keep saying if Moxley gets excommunicated from the Death Rider sheet, he needs to be the one to take over. No offense to Claudio, I mean, he'd be a really good leader too, but I feel like at this rate, more of the focus is on Marina at this rate than anybody else. So why wouldn't you? I mean, it's not like it wouldn't be believable. She could command anybody's attention at any time, and not many people would want to go against what she says because she could, kick your ass and rip your arm off and beat you over the head with it. So I could see it happening, but like we just talked about with the whole Death Riders versus the Don Callis family thing, is that going to actually end up happening, or is that going to end up being the catalyst for the change happening? I'm not entirely sure, but I don't know. I would still like to see Marina be the leader of some type of faction or have a continued prominent role on TV because she's doing well with the role she's been given. And I think it's pretty safe to say, and I feel like she's even said it, Moxley saved her career because if she wouldn't have been in the Death Riders, what would she be doing right now?
Yeah.
I don't really think she'd be doing much.
Yeah, it's just crazy how what's the way I to like you said, she doesn't necessarily need a group to be considered like the badass of the Death Riders. I think she came into her own, and it's kind of interesting how AEW was able to unlock that when technically she did, have a stint in WWE and NXT. But it's just interesting that AEW was able to unlock whatever they had in Marina Shafir, and now she's become this certified badass. I think she makes the group interesting.
Oh yeah.
And I think she definitely adds a layer where it's just like it's kind of like the Rhea Ripley thing where you kind of just want to see her take on the dudes. You wouldn't be mad you wouldn't be mad if she took on the dudes and got in the ring with them. She could definitely hold her own. So I think it's great. I love the little interactions she has with Roddy every time Roddy has a scrap with the Death Riders. I love that, like she loves to separate her married life from her in-ring life. She's a very interesting character. She's very interesting. She's got a lot of multi layers to her, I think. And I think we haven't seen the best. And how interesting it is that she hasn't even held any gold. I think it would be a perfect time to put her in some gold. Her and Statlander mixing it up for the title would be good stuff.
Yeah, hell, or if you even want to do her and Megan Bayne with the tag titles, it could be a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't shy away from that. I mean, poor Penelope Ford would be the third wheel in that one, but I don't think it would. I mean, she'd be fine on her own either way. But yeah, she needs to be in, or the TBS title for all we know. I mean, that could be another option, but they need to do something because they can't just continue to have her kind of just like skirt around the division because it's like, yeah, she's playing a big role within the men's division, but we also can't forget that she can make that same type of impact in the women's division too. They're just kind of like avoiding that right now. I mean, granted, the women's division already has some good storylines going at the moment, so it's not like it's needed, but I wouldn't be mad at it. I'd like to see it at some point. It's just a matter of when they're going to feel like doing that. But I don't know. Maybe if she does end up taking over the Death Riders and she gets the gold, then that's like she'd be the gold standard for the Death Riders of like, she's the head woman in charge and she has the belt to prove it.
Yeah, I think that'll be coming sooner than later.
I think so. Just not Stat, please. Leave Stat alone for a little bit. I think she can hold on to the title a lot longer, but anyway. All right, and so Mom's final comment is again so obvious it hurts, but the timeless love bombs are so damn entertaining. That promo, those two cut on Marina and Megan and Penelope was just like so unhinged, just so random, so unhinged. Would we expect that from those two?
Yeah.
But it's just the Penelope, I'm gonna rip off your other arm and I'm gonna beat Megan over the head with it. And it's just like it's just so hilarious and they just work so well together as a team. But you just can't help but laugh. You
Yeah,
just it's just unhinged. Just totally
I'm very entertained by the timeless love bombs, and I'm glad that they were able to show off what Toni Storm can do. That she's not relegated to just, if she's not in the main event picture, she's kind of floundering. That can
yeah.
happen, you know. But luckily, with Toni Storm and this whole timeless love bombs thing, they found something that actually works, and there's another avenue to keep her on TV, because you keep her on TV, ratings are gonna go up through the roof. So
Of course.
I'm glad everything is working out with her and Mina, and they work like a good tag team together. Timeless Love Bombs are very entertaining. It allows Toni Storm to continue to say the unhinged stuff that she usually says, that is very also entertaining. So I'm all
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, I completely agree. Anytime Tony's on TV, the ratings will prove that. And we we always said too, when she inevitably would lose the women's title, because we talked about it for many times when she was just trying to find someone to pretty much just murder her. She doesn't need the title.
Right.
She's just that good of a character where, yes, she's a great champion. She elevates the division, but she also doesn't need it. It's just she is just great on her own, and anything she touches is just entertaining and fantastic. So you don't get that kind of talent very often, so you enjoy it when you can.
I agree.
I as well. So that was all of Mom's questions and comments. So, Mom, thank you as always. We
Thank you,
appreciate
Mom.
it. Let us move on to Mike's questions and comments. And Mike's first one is it not a crazy time in wrestling with all the free agents moving around and still many unsigned? Yeah, it feels like everybody's moving around everywhere right now. It's kind of free agent frenzy.
Yeah, I enjoy it. It reminds me of the olden days between WWE and WCW, the kind of jumping ship, and you were interested in seeing who was going to go where. And it's good for wrestling. It's good for wrestling. It keeps the competition healthy. It keeps everybody on their toes, wanting to do the best job they can. And some people probably look at it as, oh, if someone is jumping ship, that is my opportunity to step up and be something in this company, and take their place, and you know, show them that, you know, we can still keep going without them. So it's a very interesting and fun time in wrestling, and good for everyone that's getting an opportunity, you know. And you know, I hope it
Yeah.
continues, because I like seeing people have jobs and being able to provide for themselves and for their families.
Yeah, we like seeing people succeed. Go figure.
Yes.
Like, because it benefits everybody in the long run. Like you said, the competition breeds more competition, which breeds success in the long run. So we love to see it.
For sure.
Do we think the inspiration come back to WWE at some point? I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance that they do. And I think if they do come back, they come back better than what they were when they had their first run with the company. I think they come
Yeah.
back very polished, and they had a great run in TNA, and they did a lot of great things in TNA that no one really was expecting them to do. So I think if they do come back, they come back at a better stance than what they were before, and I'm all for it, because I find them very entertaining. I feel like they were just finding their groove when, unfortunately, they got released for whatever reason, and they were able to find different paths because they went on to become mothers, and then they went on to find success in TNA. But I think if they were to come back, they would definitely have a great run in them. And I think WWE's is the place to do it. Or, you know, now that AEW has the women's tag team titles, they have to build up that division. So they would fit right in with AEW as well. So they're in a very good spot, really.
Yeah, they could pretty much pick wherever they want to go. And as much as they would work in WWE, I kind of selfishly want them to go to AEW just to see the interactions between them and the Timeless Love Bombs, because
Oh,
I
that
just
would
think
be
those
fun.
Those segments would be so. You think they're unhinged now? Imagine putting all four of them in a ring and with a mic and seeing what happens. It would be hilarious. It would be
Yeah,
quality TV.
I agree
So they pretty much is a win-win for them. Honestly,
for
it's just a
sure.
matter of where they think they're gonna be creatively more free. I feel like if they want more creative freedom, perhaps AEW would be the better spot to go to.
Hmm.
But I don't know if they want like the bigger scale. Obviously, I mean, they know what they're getting out of WWE. It's not
Right,
like they're, oh, well, I don't know what we're dealing with. It's like you pretty much know what you're dealing with. It doesn't, at the end of the day, really matter who's in charge. It is kind of the same when you get down to it. So they kind of already know what they're expecting, and then you kind of know a little bit what you're getting with AEW. So it's just pretty much up to you and what you want to do. So I'll be excited to see wherever they go.
for sure. Me too.
And speaking of, where would we put Powerhouse Hobbs if he does sign with WWE? I feel like he pretty much is. I think
Yeah,
they've pretty much just guaranteed that, so it's just a matter of where to put him. Um, I mean, you can put him pretty much anywhere, and he'd fit right in. I mean, hell, if you put him in NXT, he could. I'd like to see the interaction between him and Ricky Saints to see if they kind of allude to the fact that they have some history in the past. So I'm wondering if they'll do that, but. I feel like even if you skip NXT and like altogether and put him on Raw or SmackDown, I think he'd fit right in because you could put him up against any of the powerhouses on either brand,
yeah,
and I think he would do just fine. It's not like he's gonna like completely drown. I'd be
yeah.
really shocked if he did.
Yeah, I think he's gonna fit in quite well with WWE, and they're gonna, do their best to make him a big time name. As far as like where to put him, it all depends on what route they want to go with. I feel like he always works better when he has somebody else in his corner. Like, so
Yeah.
if you were to make Powerhouse Hobbs somebody's heavy in WWE, I think it'll work out great. But as far as like, it's like you said, they could put him on Raw or SmackDown, and he's gonna flourish. He's gonna do great. So I don't think it really doesn't matter. The thing is, I don't see a big difference between Raw or SmackDown. So when you ask like what show can you put him on, I don't see a big difference. I
Yeah.
think they're both equally good programs. I think they both have something to offer, and it's just they're kind of one and the same. So I don't think he would have a difference, whether he's on Raw or SmackDown. And it's kind of the same thing with like Obafemi. They keep posting
Yeah.
those Obafemi vignettes, and everybody's like, where he's going. It really doesn't matter where he's going. Wherever he's going, he's gonna flourish. So I think it's the same thing with Powerhouse Hobbs. Wherever they stick him, he's gonna do well, whether it be Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the only problem with like if you try and put him back with Ricky Star or Ricky Saints is that then you're gonna have that subsection of fans where it's like, oh, you're just recycling AEW's ideas
Yeah.
because they've already done this before. And it's just like, okay, but I feel like they can do that in a way where it's not a complete copy and paste.
Right.
But again, that depends on if they want to put him there or not, because it's pretty much equal playing field. You just flip a coin, roll the dice, and wherever you put him, I think he's going to do really good in. But yeah, he's better at being, like you said, the heavy. He can still talk on the mic. I mean, he's not fantastic, but he's also not terrible either. So it's
Right.
just he's just better suited to be someone who just stands there and looks very imposing and just kicks the shit out of people. And that's pretty much it. But I think regardless, he'll be good wherever he goes, honestly.
I agree.
And another question of the reverse variety, where does Ciampa go since apparently he's done with WWE? So one's coming in the door, one's leaving, supposedly.
Mm.
Um, I don't really know if he would do so well in AEW, not because he's a like I think the problem is that again, everybody falls into the trap of if insert wrestler here leaves insert wrestling promotion, they have to automatically go to insert other wrestling promotion here. So, of course, everybody's going to immediately say he needs to go to AEW.
Right.
That's not really the case. I mean, we've seen plenty of wrestlers go from WWE to just the indies and they're doing just fine. Think of Shotzi, think of Indy Hartwell, think of, I mean, hell, Isla Dawn's doing pretty good too from what I've seen. So it's not automatically, oh, well, you have to go to the other big company or one of the other big companies. You can just go and do whatever on the indies because if you were good in the promotion you were in, and Ciampa was pretty damn good in WWE for a while, especially in NXT, people aren't gonna like not pay money to go see him. Like
Right.
people are going to. It's just a matter of to what degree. But I don't. In a perfect world, yes, you just go to the big company right after the other big company. You know, everything will work out great. But after that happens so often, you have to really stand out, or else you're just gonna be the other like company person, and you just fall into by the wayside because there's just so many people. And I don't know if AEW needs any more like people like that, but for all we know, that might be just what they're looking for. But after a while, you kind of can't. I mean, unless you're Andrade, and then you can just ping pong from both companies and just not just get away with it, apparently. But yeah, it's just after a while, the rosters get so diluted and so just like full that you might just get there and it's a big deal for about a month, and then you're kind of just waiting in the middle, and no one really wants to be waiting in the middle, but so happens when you have an overinflated roster.
Yeah, I think if he was to go to AEW, he would get lost in the shuffle, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
But if he was to go somewhere like TNA, they could make him a main event person in TNA, and it would be great.
Oh yeah.
I feel like he would work well with the roster, and he would work well as one of their top guys in the company, especially now that they just got on a new network on AMC, so they could definitely use the shot in the arm that if they pick up Tommaso Ciampa and have them in their organization, that's proven good worker, you know.
Yeah.
That's a proven good worker who can get over with the fans, whether you want him to get over as a good guy or a bad guy, it'll work. He knows what he's doing. He's a true professional. I feel like the only reason it's not working in WWE is because he's kind of working against the clock, and
Yeah.
like we said, time waits for no one. So like he's getting kind of up there in age. There's no shame in saying that, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have anything left. It's just everybody else is so hot right now in WWE, you know, and
Yeah.
everything has a purpose to the show. So if you get on there, you're pretty much golden. So I don't know. I mean, it wasn't like they were keeping him off TV when he was on WWE. He was still on TV doing work in the tag team division with Gargano. So like, I don't know
Yeah.
what I don't know. Maybe he saw himself better suited as a single star, and he wanted that singles recognition to go after the singles titles, and they don't see that in WWE. I just don't see
Yeah.
the reason for him leaving just yet. It's not like he was stuck in catering.
Yeah, I feel like maybe he felt like he was getting creatively handcuffed, possibly, because we've seen the full potential of what he can do, and to what you said, it just the timing probably just wasn't right for him up in the main roster like it was in NXT in the black and gold era. So maybe if he goes to again, I mean, if it has to be AEW or preferably maybe TNA, they could just say, "All right, the handcuffs are off. Do you?" Because when he's on his game, he could easily be the most hated guy in
Yeah.
the in the building, as we've seen. Like he wouldn't even need music. They would just his entrance music would be just a chorus of boos. So he can do it, and maybe he just felt like he hasn't been able to let that out. So maybe where he can have a little more creative freedom, then let him go nuts. And like you said, he doesn't have a lot of time left, so let's let him go all out until the end. Like,
I,
what's he got to lose?
I just feel like if he shows up in AEW, they're gonna stick him in the Don Callis family.
Oh, don't even. I mean, again, I feel like we're in the Don Callis family. We just don't know it yet. We have to like go through the screeners, I guess. But everybody's in the Don Callis family. It's just like, I wonder if they're just doing that as a running joke at this rate. And even then, it's just like, okay, it was funny maybe about 5 members ago, but now it's just like, okay, well, what are you gonna do with all these people? Like, is it even worth being in the Don Callis family unless you're like a super elite talent? Because if you're just like at the bottom of the barrel comparatively to the rest of the family, what are you gonna do except be like the people that eats the pins?
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, at this rate, who knows? Half the roster's probably going to be in the family at some point, but just wild. All right. Did we see any of TNA's debut on AMC? Putting that lock through Jeff Hardy's ear was pretty gross. Yeah, they do like putting things through his ear. It's just I didn't get a chance to catch any of TNA on AMC, but I did see that on the whole ear thing on Twitter, and I really wish I hadn't. It's just ugh, brings me back to that whole thing with him and Randy Orton all over again. It's just what is
Yeah.
it with the ears, man? Like, I get you got the gauges and everything and whatever, but even then, just like, ugh, just
Nah,
weird. It's
yeah.
just weird. Like, can't do it.
I didn't get to see the show because Hulu doesn't carry AMC in my area, so unfortunately I
Of
missed
course not.
out on it. Yeah, of course, right? They don't
Yeah,
carry it,
well,
but I missed out. But I did see a bunch of stuff on like Twitter and stuff, and I was following along. There was like a half and half. You know,
yeah,
some people were feeling it, some people weren't too much into the show, so they were kind of like it was kind of split down the middle. But hey, good for them. They're on TV, they're on AMC, they're on a new
yeah,
network. You know, hopefully they can garner some attention, and it's good for the show because now a lot of people have their eyes on TNA. It's not like they were before. You would say TNA, and everybody would be like, "Oh, ugh." TNA now it's different. Now it's like people are
yeah.
into TNA and into what they have going on, and they're a viable group.
Yeah, it's better than what it used to be, where the only time I could ever catch it on cable TV was when it just randomly was on Access, and I'm like, oh, that's on.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, not good if you want people to consistently get eyes on it. So yeah, having them on a consistent channel at a consistent time, that's what you need if you need to get the momentum going. And it's not like they're a slouch company; they know what they're doing. So good for them. Hopefully they get the sustained success, and then we have more competition to breed more success for wrestling, and everybody wins all around.
There you go.
All right. So did Ilya make a pass at Sammy's wife or something? Those were some live rounds that opened up Ilya's eye.
Oh yeah, those are some crazy shots. But I feel like Ilya told him like, don't hold back. Like
Yeah,
come at me and give me the business. And Sammy was like, okay, sure, if that's how you want it, you know.
you
And
want it, yeah.
yeah, and I think that's what happened. You know, it's wrestling. Again, it's not supposed to be perfect. You know, it's
Yeah.
not supposed to be cookie cutter. It's supposed to have some frayed edges, and that's basically what happened. It was just some frayed edges, you know, but they were some live rounds. They were really pumping them in there.
Yeah, I feel like that's how you can kind of compare him to Darby Allin in a way. I think like Darby is more of like the reckless, just let me get hit by a truck or a car or something because it's going to be entertaining. But Ilya's, yeah, I don't want to say they're exactly the same, obviously, but they're kind of in the same mindset of just lay it in and we'll like talk about it later.
Yeah.
Because if it looks more realistic, it's going to be more like painful looking and more, just it's going to be more entertaining to me. Where it's just like, I prefer, like you said throughout this whole show, I prefer where you kind of look at it and go, ooh, that was a little too close to home, as opposed to, oh, that was a cool Enziguri that missed by 5 feet. Like, I'd rather, which happens unfortunately far too often for me to admit, but it's just I prefer the more realism. I just think it adds to the character of wrestling as a whole, because it's not supposed to be perfect, or it shouldn't be perfect, because then it's not realistic and people can't relate to it as much. So yeah, and Ilya is the kind of guy where it's like, if you're gonna hit me, you better either hit me like literally or just make it look as realistic as possible, because that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to entertain the people, and people are entertained by realism.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you, they
y-
had that conversation. They had that
they did.
conversation either before the match or after the match where they were just like,
Yeah.
hey, you know, it's wrestling. It happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see Sammy being like, you sure about that? He's like, oh, yeah, no. Just actually punch me in the face. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like, because guess what? It got people talking, as we are right now. So that's what they want. You want people to keep talking about these things. And again, WWE loves those viral moments. And Ilya's eye was a little busted up. So I'm sure that did some numbers on Twitter. So you got to get the people talking. And sometimes those live rounds definitely get people talking for sure.
Yeah.
A little tough on this one. What has been a worse title reign, Jade's or Dominic's? Why wouldn't they just strip Dom of his title?
He's too
Yeah, I've
hot.
always
He's too
been.
popular.
Yeah, I feel like they. WWE is also very good at like picking and choosing when it's convenient to drop a title, as
Right.
we've seen many times where it's like, oh, well, I mean, I guess we can kind of get around it and we can find a way to, try and distract from the fact that he's not going to be defending the title, but then there's the other side of it where Jade barely does anything, and I don't think she's hurt that we know of, and they just don't want to do anything with her. And unfortunately, I was kind of not surprised that this is how this title reign's going because I think if I remember correctly, when we were talking about this match to begin with, when it was her and Tiffany, I'm like, this is kind of a lose lose because you're gonna kind of get Tiffany, who I didn't think was really elevating the title. She wasn't like tanking it either, but it was also just like, it was just kind of like stuck in third gear. But then you get Jade, where it's like, I don't know, she's really title material yet, besides just looking charisma. You kind of have to have the wrestling and whatnot to back it up. And now that she has it, it's kind of just like, eh, it's fine, I guess. Because how long was it until she actually had like her first title like defense? It was like what? How many months?
It was a
I,
while.
it was too long. Let's put it that
Yeah,
way. When
it was definitely a long time. I'm the I'm very perplexed by the case of Jade Cargill and why they don't use her. Obviously, they have
yeah,
some things pointed towards maybe her and Jordan Grace, which I think is
maybe
great. Um,
yeah,
but when are they gonna get that cooking? Like, when is that gonna get set in
yeah.
motion? When are we gonna see a match? When are we gonna see Jade Cargill defending the title or just working? I don't know. Like, is she
Yeah.
hurt? Is like they don't
Is
see
she in the
anybody else?
doghouse?
I don't understand.
She might be in the doghouse, possibly, because I think a lot of people were kind of looking at the fact that Meechin and who else recently got hurt that was working with
BFAB.
Jake BFAB, and it was kind of like people were kind of like given the side eye where it's like, once is already kind of like a shame, but then once it's twice with the same person, it's kind of like, you kind of start to. Could it be just a wild coincidence that it's both of them? It just so happens to be Jade? Possibly. You never know. Wrestling is just kind of hit and miss, literally and figuratively, where it's like sometimes injuries happen, but sometimes when it just seems to happen with the same person over and over again, you start to look at it a little bit more and a little more under the microscope. So maybe that might have something to do with it. Do I think it's the main reason? Probably not. But it's also kind of like, what are we doing? It's almost as if you regret putting the title on her. But like I said back then, they kind of backed themselves into a corner because it was either you had Jade lose and Tiffany's title reign went on, and who knows how many other times she would have defended it against Nia Jax, because that seemed to be like the way they went after every other title defense. Or you gave it to Jade, who maybe wasn't necessarily ready to be a champion, but you had to do it because, oh, she's got the look, oh, she's got the charisma, oh, whatever. And now you're kind of stuck. So this may have been a problem of WWE's own creation, but they back themselves into a corner. So I think they're kind of just like reaping what they sow at this point. But I don't know. If anybody could take the title off her, believably, Jordan Grace would be the one to do it. So I mean, they really want to go that way, they can, but it's just a matter of, like you said, if they're going to actually remember that that's a thing. But that remains to be seen.
I agree. And in the case of Dominic Mysterio, I don't understand what his injury exactly is that is keeping him from being in the ring. But I
Yeah.
think when he got hurt, they might have panicked because he's way too popular. So to like take off the title from him and give it to somebody else that's not on his level could do serious damage to the title.
Yeah.
But
I don't
man,
know.
is he missed? Because I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, wait, who's the Intercontinental Champion again? Oh, that's right, it's Dominic.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen him in forever.
Yeah. I thought it was a shoulder, maybe, because I thought they had him in a sling or something. Could be shoulder, collarbone, maybe, but
But
I
then,
don't know.
and the thing is, the kid's been working. The kid's been working.
Oh, yeah.
He's been having so many matches, so
Yeah.
many matches. So it was bound to catch up with him, and he was gonna have to take some time off. It just caught him at the wrong time, I guess.
Yeah. The timing could not have been worse. So I feel like it's kind of it's a double-edged sword in wrestling where if you're a workhorse, good on you, and keep going. But at some point, that's going to catch up to you, or at some point, something's going to happen, and it's going to force you to slow down. And unfortunately, this injury just happened to be that chink in the armor a little bit.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So, did we see the graphic for AAA that showed Dom with the AEW World Title in the promo?
I thought it was
No.
fake.
Oh, you AI? It was
Yeah,
AI.
no, it was AI. That's specifically the reason that happened. Is they probably used some AI generator, didn't look it over, didn't pay attention, and look what happened. Now you have this big stink.
This is why AI is just like stupid. We're not gonna get into that can of worms. It's just like a waste of time, and only destroying the environment. But whatever. But it's also just like, guys, if you're gonna be that lazy, at least have the wherewithal to look through your work, knowing that AI 9 times out of 10 fucks something up. Like something, it could be as subtle or that obvious. But even then, how did nobody look that over? I would like to think the graphics person or somebody got fired, as they should have been, because it's like, come on, it's only your competition.
Yeah, I don't understand how you don't look at the final product after it's done and go, oh wait a minute.
You'd be surprised.
I don't know, but
you would be surprised.
That's what you get for using AI and trying to make everything easier using AI. I feel like it's lazy.
Oh, it is, and it's just like, and you don't think people notice? People notice. People have a almost trained eye now to know if something's AI or not. And even if it's not, if you don't put the work in for it, people are still going to call it AI. So it's like, I don't think you want to be associated with something as dumb as that. So maybe just put the work in. That's my 2 cents. And, maybe stop being so damn lazy about everything, because then that shit doesn't happen and you don't look like a bunch of morons. But what do we know? We just have, common sense, I guess.
I guess.
Who would have thought? All right. Does AJ Styles wrestle in TNA before his match against Gunther?
I wouldn't do that.
I mean, for the nostalgia, of course, that would be a good idea, but it's like, common sense wise, as we just talked about, is it a good idea? Probably not, because you just run that risk of, if something goes horribly wrong and you don't get that match with Gunther, then that was a complete waste of time.
Yeah, that's exactly why I wouldn't run the match before. And again, this is the big thing. This is a career threatening match, basically. And AJ Styles' contract is up in February.
Yeah.
It is up in February. So, and he says that that's his last contract. So, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
They wouldn't have Gunther beat AJ Styles and have him beat another person to retire another person, would he?
I mean, if he's the modern day legend killer, then maybe. I mean, that might be where they're going with it, but I don't know. You think they'd give them at least some feel good moments somehow, but I don't know. If people end up at TNA want him that badly, just have him show up in a non-wrestling capacity. I mean, it's not like people would be mad about it, but.
And that's what they had him do last time. He showed up in like you said, non-wrestling capacity. I think now they want him in a wrestling capacity to see if he can still bring some magic to TNA.
And it's like, don't get greedy.
Yeah.
Do not get greedy, because it's not your final say. You don't really have. I mean, you got the working partnership with WWE, but they still have control of their assets. So maybe don't bite the hand that feeds you, because again, if they lend AJ for you in a TNA match and something goes horribly wrong, you can kiss your working relationship goodbye, because you just lost one of the best wrestlers at the end of his contract, and now they can't do what they wanted to do with him in WWE because you just had to get him for ratings. So it's like, WWE's not going to be stupid about that. They're going to be like, no way, unless it's just another promo or just whatever. Yeah, he's not doing that. And I don't blame him. That would be the dumbest thing they could do, is let him do that. So I would say just keep him off until the match with Gunther.
Yeah, and then afterwards, if you want to do something with TNA, like have him wrestle a match in TNA, do it after. I think this match with Gunther is too high profile. Too many people want to see it. They may not want to
Yeah.
see the stipulation of it being a career-threatening match, but they still want to see the
Yeah.
match.
Yeah, well, and it's funny because Mike's next question, we can just kind of like lump this in with the other one, is do we think AJ's actually done at the Rumble? I mean, if his contract's up in February and he says he's done, then who are we to not take him for his word? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, he could take add a couple days on, add a month on, or whatever like that, but eventually the show stops, and eventually,
Yeah.
it is.
Cena.
Yeah, and exactly. We keep going back to Cena. I feel like this is the theme of the show, is that time waits for no one, so
Nope.
eventually his time is going to come up too, and then we have to deal with that. So
Exactly.
brace yourself.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's not going to be as, big grandstanding kind of whatever with AJ Styles as it was with Cena, but it's still a big deal. It's still a very big deal. So, yeah, it's coming up sooner rather than later, guys. So just enjoy it while it lasts. All barely a month left, but it's great. It's just keeps going. Time keeps slipping by. That's just the theme of this whole like episode, I think. It's just
Yeah.
time just keeps slipping for everybody. But all right, we don't want to be too much of a, well, I wanted to say we didn't want to be too much of like a Debbie Downer, but then Mike's last question is perhaps the most high profile thing that has happened with wrestling over the last few days, and that is the interesting question mark situation regarding Trey Miguel. So Mike would like to know what we think happened, because shown on the Fightful graphic is signed before Dynamite, not on Dynamite. On the weekend, he says he's stepping away from wrestling. Monday, the Wrestling Observer newsletter says the decision was made from high up, not TK, and Miguel didn't have heat with anyone, but from high up to grant the release. Mike's head is spinning. Yeah, it was a very weird few days because, like he said, the Rascals get signed to AEW. He doesn't show up. Everyone's like, what the heck's up with that? And then it's like literally the next day he's like, yeah, I'm stepping away from wrestling. Like, don't tag me in anything. Don't like mention me in anything or whatever. And from what I saw, and again, guys, take this with a grain of salt because I mean, it's from Fightful, so you can at least, there's some legitimacy to it, I would think, because Fightful is usually pretty good with their stuff. Apparently, it's kind of another situation like it was with Jay Briscoe, where Warner Brothers said, "Yeah, we don't want this guy on the TV because of things he said in the past," and apparently he said some homophobic things a couple years ago. I think about like 2020, if I remember correctly. So it's very interesting why it's coming up now. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I don't know what he said. I don't think anyone's actually brought up what he's actually said, but it was very just vague, where he was like, "Oh, I'm a changed man," and oh, this and that, and something about religion, I think. I didn't pay enough attention, to be honest, but it just seemed very just skirting around the issue, and no one really wanted to say why. And now it comes up that he said some stupid shit, and Warner Brothers said, "We're not doing that, no matter how much you apologize." And I mean, I guess you can say they're consistent, at least when it comes to AEW, but some of the wrestlers said, yeah, that's not really fair because you have some shitty people in your network that you don't do this to, so why is it a double standard? But it just kind of seems like a very just odd situation, because it's not like Warner Brothers didn't know that Tony wanted to sign him.
Right.
So why did you let him get signed only to be like, yeah, we're not going to put him on TV though? Like, it doesn't make
Yeah.
sense.
The only thing I read in regards to that was Tony thought like, because Tony originally tried to sign them a couple years ago, when
Yeah.
this happened. When this whole whatever situation that's holding Trey Miguel back happened, And that's when Warner Brothers said, no, we can't put this guy on TV. Tony thought like if he waited a couple years, like that was good enough and that was going to smooth things over. And
Nope.
no, that obviously is not what happened. That's what I'm just reading. Again, we're not on the inside. We don't have sources. Everything we know about the situation is from what we read. Just like everybody else. It is a weird situation. On one hand, you know, if it was something like he said something he shouldn't have said, he shouldn't have said it. You know, he's a grown man, he's a grown adult. And I don't think we're in a position, I'm certainly not in a position to be like, well, I forgive him, you know, like it's not my place, you know, so I can't say whether or not what he did, if he said something that was wrong, he said something that was wrong. If he owned up to his mistake, he owned up to his mistake. But sometimes, like, that's the thing with consequences, people, is that certain consequences are unavoidable just because you say sorry. You know, sorry is not a fixer for everything. You know what I mean? So, and sometimes there are real consequences, and you know that this is why you have to watch what you say and really, like, I don't want to say Trey Miguel is a bad person. I don't think he's a bad person. I just think he was just like
Stupid.
Yeah, it's just stupidity, immaturity, but again, like
I don't know.
consequences.
Yeah, it's always funny that people tend to forget that 9 times out of 10 you are going, well, I mean 10 times out of 10 in some way, shape, or form, you are going to have to face the consequences of your own actions, whether it be days, weeks, years from now or after you say it. So it's like it never fully goes away, especially in the age of social media. These people screenshot, they like screen grab, they record, they do all this shit. So you could delete tweets all you want, but if somebody had a personal vendetta against you or just nothing better to do, they'll find shit on you and it's going to come back to bite you. Nothing ever completely disappears off of social media. Like, it's there forever. It's just a matter of if someone's going to be, you know, bold enough to try and find it. And again, you can apologize all you want, like you said, but sometimes that just is never going to be enough. And again, depending on what he said, maybe that action's justified. Maybe you can't come back from something like whatever he said. Again, I don't know what he said. I haven't seen it. I'd rather not go after and look for it because it's probably just going to piss me off. So rather protect my peace on that one. But it's just, at least he owned up to it, because it's even worse to just be like, well, I don't really know why, like, everyone hates me now. It's just like, it's very tone deaf. Like, dude, you said some stupid shit and you're going to face the consequences of your actions at some point, and now it's affecting your employment, and you really can't thank anybody but yourself. Because at the end of the day, you're the one that typed it, you're the one that hit send. You thought it was a smart thing to say at the time, and clearly that is not the case. So it happens. That's why it's just better to just keep your mouth shut on social media, because it could come back to haunt you one day.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, consequences are a real thing, and just because you say sorry doesn't mean that those consequences are going to be avoided.
No.
You're going to have to deal with them one way or another. So it's a real shitty situation. He could be on TV right now chopping it up with the rest of the rascals, but now he's at home thinking about his actions. And you know, that's something he's gonna have to deal with, and hopefully he can rebound from that.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, it worked for Jay. I mean, and the problem is you're always going to have that section of people that are always going to be like, I'm not going to forgive you for that, which is fair. You have the right to do so. I mean, Jay said some really stupid shit back in, like, really horrible shit back in the day, but at least he learned from it and was a better person for it and grew as a person. But again, you can grow and be a good person all you want, but that still doesn't mean that the people that sign your paychecks are going to agree with that because of, I don't know, some sort of image they want to keep up, I guess, at least for AEW standards. And you have to own it. I
Yeah.
mean, that's just how it is. Like again, if you would have just kept your mouth shut on social media or whatever, you wouldn't be in this position right now. But
Yeah, that's why I
don't
said
put yourself there.
I'm not in a position to be like, yeah, he should definitely be forgiven because I don't know what words he said and the words he
Yeah.
stated could have hurt somebody very deeply, you know? So I'm
Yeah.
not in a position to be like, yeah, he should be forgiven. I do believe people deserve second chances if they're sincere about it, but that's a whole
Yeah.
different story. It's just a matter of whether or not he's going to really reflect upon this and really learn from it and become a better person afterward.
Yeah, I hope so, because the worst thing he could do is just pull the woe is me, pity party kind of bullshit where it's just like, well, this was so long ago, it doesn't matter. I'm not the same person anymore. It's just like, okay, well, talk is cheap.
Yeah.
If you're not that same person anymore, show people you're not that same person anymore. Don't do the sob story. Oh, well, this just like ruined my career. It's just like, no, the hard truth is at the end of the day, Warner Brothers didn't ruin your career. AEW didn't ruin your career. You ended up ruining your career, at least for now. I'm not going to say like he's completely done, but it's just like at this current point in time, he has no one to thank but himself.
Right. Yep. That's basically what it is. It all falls back on him.
Yeah. And again, it's just a good lesson, guys, is that if you have to think about what you're saying, probably don't say it. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not it's not I mean, it shouldn't be that hard, but then again, people nowadays think that they can say the worst things imaginable on social media and they can get away with it because they're hiding behind a phone or a computer screen, but that's just
Yeah. People have this weird thing with like what they think free speech really means. Free speech doesn't mean you're free from consequences of what you say. Um,
yeah, you also can't say the most hateful, vile things imaginable and then turn around and be like, well, it's my freedom of speech to do so.
right.
It's just like, okay, well, that doesn't make it okay.
Yeah,
That
that's
doesn't make
that's
you
not.
not be a shitty person.
But like I was always taught from like early on in school, like freedom of speech means you can say anything you want about the government. Doesn't necessarily mean you
Yeah.
can spew all these hateful things about another person and disrupt their quality of life with your hateful words. So I think people have a really weird misconception of what freedom of speech is. And it's not just spewing whatever you want to about whoever or whatever and thinking you're free from consequence. That's why I always laugh when anytime some of these people they get fired from their jobs or something like that, and then they're like, "Oh, but my freedom of speech is like, no, you got it all wrong. You just thought you were free
Mm-mm.
from any consequences, and you found out." So
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to remember where I heard this, but and it's is it a little funny? Yes. Is it a little like maybe dark humor? Yes, but it's also very true. Where it's just like people nowadays have forgotten the consequences of getting punched in the face if you say something stupid,
yeah,
and they just think like, oh well, nothing's gonna happen to me. It's like, okay, well, if someone was standing right in front of you and you said that, you'd be swallowing your own teeth.
yeah,
But again, because they're not in front of you, it's like, well, you're not gonna, it doesn't fucking matter. You're not near me. You're not next to me. What are you gonna do? Like, block me? Like, I mean, yes, that is the obvious answer because then you don't have to deal with it. But it's also just like, I bet if you got popped in the mouth over that, then you wouldn't have said that. But people, again, just hiding behind the screens, think that they can get away with saying the worst shit imaginable. And, oh, well, it's my freedom to do so. It's just like, yeah, but again, actions have consequences. And even if it doesn't happen in the physical form, karma is a very real thing.
yep, I
It's just
agree.
something's gonna bite you in the ass at some point, and you might not know when, but it always comes to collect, whether you like it or not.
Yep, that's why, especially in this case, if you don't want to end up losing your dream job or losing a big chunk of money because he probably would have gotten very well paid in
Yeah.
AEW. So
Mhm.
now you got that going on. So yeah, it's not worth the gamble. Think smart, people.
No.
Everybody has something dumb to say, but doesn't mean you have to go voice it. Like I have some dumb
Yeah.
opinions. I have
Oh yeah.
some
We all
thing,
do.
yeah, like but I don't go around like I don't go around making an asshole of myself. I keep my dumb
Yeah.
opinions to myself because it's just not worth it.
Well, and I think the worst part is too is that I feel like, especially COVID, just kind of like ruined how people are supposed to properly like socially interact with each other. I mean, I feel like it was already kind of like rocky to begin with, but COVID really like killed it because even on the flip side of that though, you could literally just go and say, I don't know, like I could just go on Twitter right now if I was so inclined and just say like, The Dark Knight's my favorite movie of all time. Is it a true statement for me? Yes, it is my favorite movie of all time. That is literally opening up the door for like 20 other people to come on my Twitter and tell me how stupid I am because that's a stupid fucking movie and oh my god, that is like the worst movie ever made and blah blah blah. And it's just like people will literally argue with you if you say the sky's blue.
Yeah.
Like these people are so just I don't even know. I don't want to, I mean, uncivilized might be a good word, but it's just like nobody knows how to socially interact with anyone anymore. And it's just like insane because at the end of the day, if I see something on Twitter or social media or just in general, like out in the in the wild, and I don't like it, you know what I do? Keep it to myself
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, no one fucking cares about your unsolicited opinion.
Yeah.
Like, and it just blows my mind how nowadays people are so comfortable with just coming up to people, whether it be in person or online, and just like saying the dumbest shit because they feel the need to hear it. Like, I know, for like example, you and I, it's not, no one is stopping anybody from just coming up to us and being like, well, I don't like your tattoos. I hate them. I think they're ugly. It's like, okay, well, I didn't get them for you. You didn't get them for anybody else. So it's just like, thank you for that stupid unsolicited opinion I didn't ask for, and I don't care. Like, I don't fucking care if you like my tattoos. I don't care if you like the clothes I wear, I don't know, like the sports teams I like, the movies I like, the video games I like, or whatever. It's just like at the end of the day, and it's very easy to say it, but over time, I think as you grow older, it's easier in a way to get to. It's just like, you just have to stop caring what people think. Like, that doesn't mean give you free rein to be an asshole, but it's just like, if you like the things you like, just enjoy them. Because people are going to have their opinions at the end of the day, but if it brings you joy and it brings you entertainment or some sort of gratification, who fucking cares what other people have to say? Just do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that hard, but
I couldn't have said it better myself. Do what makes you happy, people.
All right, now we got to step off our soapboxes because I think we're done for tonight. Actually, we are done. We actually are done for tonight. That was our last question of the night. So, Mike, thank you for your questions. Mom, thank you for your questions and comments. We always appreciate it.
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you guys
right,
for
we're
out of here. Time to go. No, but really, thank you guys. Thank you guys for participating in the show and sending in your questions. It really means a lot that you guys want to see this show grow and be great as it is. So we thank you for your participation, and we hope to continue your participation in future episodes. If you would like to send us a question to be answered on this podcast that is wrestling related, the best way to do it is to head over to our Twitter account. Every Monday afternoon, I post up the tweet asking you guys to send in questions or comments that you would like us to answer or voice on the podcast over on our Twitter account at Ringside Rundown. And it's always the pin tweet, and it's always asking for questions to be sent in. As long as it's wrestling related, we'll answer it. We'll talk about it on the show, and it'll be a good thing, and it'll be a lot of fun. And you can say you're part of a podcast team. I like to think of your mom and Mike and everyone that sends in questions kind of like producers, you know?
Yeah, really.
And they contribute to the show that way. So that's the way I like to think of it. Again, if you would like to send in a question to us, make sure you're glued tight every Monday afternoon to our Twitter account at Ringside Rundown. There's also a space in our Discord server where you can ask your questions in a special channel that says podcast questions. If you need a link to our Discord server, if you know how Discord works and you would like to join our Discord server, it is in the description of this podcast. So check the description for the link, hit the green check mark so it verifies that you're a human being and you can be a part of our little Discord server that we have going on where you can also ask questions. Again, you can find us on Twitter at Ringside Rundown, same handle for Facebook at Ringside Rundown, Instagram at Ringside Rundown. We're also on TikTok at Ringside_Rundown. Again, that's at Ringside_Rundown. You can also check us out every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do live streams on Twitch, twitch.tv/ringside rundown, and also multi-streaming those streams over on YouTube, youtube.com/@ringside run pod. It's a lot of stuff, I know, but trust me, it's all in the description, right there in the description of this podcast episode. So check out those links where you get a chance. Shay, where can they get in touch with you?
I always wonder how you don't like run out of breath when you say all that. It's very impressive. I have to say that's my little side note. It's just like good on you. But anyway, no, you can find me on my wrestling Twitter at @ShayRingside_, just like Eric's, except I copy and pasted it a little bit and just kind of made it my own. It's my own. It's my name, so
yeah,
it's kind of similar, but not really.
I've been doing this for so long. It's just second nature to push this stuff out because I always remember what I didn't push out at the end after it's all done. I'm like, oh, I forgot to say that. So,
yeah, like, we'll get to it next time, right? It's always next time.
All right, so our next episode, we're going to be talking about Saturday night's main event, which is happening this weekend, also giving our predictions for the Royal Rumble.
Oh boy. And I actually get to watch it this time, not because I spent the money on ESPN, but because one of the local bars is playing it.
Oh,
in
nice.
town. So
Nice.
I have an excuse to actually go now, thankfully, and not have to. I mean, I'll pay money for the food probably, but it'll just be nice to actually. I don't know. I've always liked being around like other people besides just like mom and I and like maybe a friend or two. It's always, I don't know. I always thought it was kind of cool to like get a crowd's reaction or like a group's reaction of things that are happening. And yeah, it'll be interesting. I still always say the Royal Rumble's one of, if not my favorite pay-per-view of the year. So hopefully they don't disappoint me. It's already bad enough that it's in Saudi Arabia, but you know what? We have to deal with that, unfortunately. But we're not going to get on that soapbox tonight. We've already been on enough today, but should be a fun one though.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, for Shay Hickson, my name is Erik Vasquez. Look forward to the next episode coming from the Ringside Rundown podcast. Thank you for listening, guys. Take care.
See you later, guys.